There's a question I hear more often than you might imagine, whispered in exam rooms, typed into late-night messages, asked with a mix of curiosity and concern. Is watching pornography actually okay? It's a deeply personal topic, one that touches on pleasure, guilt, relationships, and health. And today, we're going to explore it together, with honesty, compassion, and science. I'm Dr. Naraya Wolf, urologist and pelvic surgeon, and if you ever face questions or concerns about your urological health, your sexual well-being, or anything that weighs on you in this space, stay with us. We're here to help you understand your body with clarity and comfort. Before we begin, I want to say something essential. No one should ever feel shame for their sexual choices, as long as those choices don't cause harm to themselves or others. Pornography exists. It's accessible. It's everywhere. And because of that, many people will encounter it, and some will struggle with it. So let's take an honest, thoughtful look at what the research actually tells us. First, let's talk about who's watching. Depending on which study you look at, somewhere between 70 and 80% of men report having used pornography at some point, or using it regularly. For women, that number is around 30 to 35%, though it's likely underreported due to stigma. During the early months of the COVID-19 pandemic, traffic to adult websites increased by roughly 11%. People were home, they were isolated, they were looking for connection, distraction, or release. And why do people turn to pornography? For some, it's about exploring sexual curiosity. For others, it's a way to increase desire or arousal. And sadly, for many, especially young people, it becomes a substitute for sexual education. Because let's be honest, most of us didn't receive comprehensive, accurate information about sex growing up. So here's the real question. Is pornography inherently good or bad? The truth is, it's not black and white. It's not a simple yes or no. The impact of pornography depends on the person, the context, and the way it's used. Let me walk you through what we know, the positives, the risks, and the moments when it can become a real problem. The potential positives research has shown that in some cases, pornography can actually have beneficial effects. People who watch pornography may develop more open, positive attitudes toward sex. They may feel more comfortable experimenting with their partners. Some studies, particularly involving women, have found that watching pornography can temporarily increase sexual satisfaction and libido. And interestingly, couples who watch pornography together often report feeling more sexually satisfied and more emotionally connected to their partners. It becomes a shared experience rather than a secretive one. There's also a common fear that exposure to pornography, especially content that depicts aggression, might lead to increased sexual violence. But after reviewing multiple large-scale studies, researchers have found no clear link between pornography use and increases in rape, assault, or sexual violence. That doesn't mean all pornography is healthy or harmless, but it does mean the connection isn't as direct as some fear. When does it become a problem? Now let's talk about the other side. Across multiple studies, somewhere between 4 and 10% of people report struggling with what they describe as pornography addiction or problematic use. In medical terms, we don't classify it as an addiction in the traditional sense. We call it problematic pornography use. So what does that mean? It means that for some people, pornography stops being a casual or occasional experience and starts interfering with their lives. You're at higher risk if you're watching large amounts of pornography regularly. You're also dealing with depression or anxiety. You experience what's called moral incongruence, meaning you believe pornography is wrong, yet you keep watching it, which creates internal conflict and guilt. You find yourself preferring masturbation with pornography over real intimacy with a partner. If you're reading this and thinking, that sounds like me, you're probably right. Trust your instinct. What's happening in your brain? Let me explain what's going on beneath the surface. Our brains are wired to seek out things that make us feel good, things that release a chemical called dopamine. Eating, sleeping, connecting with others, and yes, sex. These are all activities that trigger dopamine because they help us survive and thrive as a species. Pornography hijacks that same reward system. When you watch it, your brain releases dopamine, just like it would during real sex. And over time, for some people, the brain starts to crave that hit of dopamine more and more. This can lead to what's called upregulation of certain brain pathways. Your brain starts prioritizing pornography over other activities that are good for you, like spending time with loved ones, going to work, or taking care of your responsibilities. You might start to notice tolerance. You need more explicit, more novel, or more intense content to feel the same level of arousal. Compulsivity. You feel strong, sudden urges to watch, even when you don't want to or when it's inconvenient. Impaired executive function. The part of your brain that helps you make good decisions, like, I should go to bed, or I need to finish this project, gets weakened. Dysphoria. You feel frustrated, restless, or unhappy when you're not watching pornography. And here's the thing. Willpower alone often isn't enough to break this cycle. It's not about being weak. It's about how your brain has adapted. Real-life consequences. When problematic pornography use takes hold, it doesn't stay contained to your screen. It spills into your life. You might find yourself avoiding social activities or skipping work to watch, feeling isolated and lonely, spending money you don't have on premium content or subscriptions, experiencing conflict in your relationships, especially if your partner feels hurt, neglected, or betrayed. And then there's your mental health. Many people with problematic pornography use also struggle with depression or anxiety, constant sadness, constant worry. It's a vicious cycle. The impact on your sex life. This is where things get particularly concerning, especially for younger people. Boys are now being exposed to pornography as early as 10 years old. At that age, their brains are still developing. They don't yet have the ability to fully distinguish between what's real and what's performance. And pornography is a performance. It's edited, choreographed, and designed to be visually stimulating, not realistic. The actors have above-average anatomy. The lighting is perfect. The scenarios are exaggerated. Women appear instantly aroused. Men are immediately erect. There's no awkwardness, no communication, no tenderness. And much of mainstream pornography depicts sex that is aggressive, impersonal, or even abusive. It doesn't show you how to truly connect with a partner or bring them pleasure. So, what happens? Young people, and even adults, start comparing themselves to what they see on screen. They wonder, why doesn't my body look like that? Why doesn't sex feel like that? Am I doing something wrong? This self-doubt can spiral into performance anxiety. And performance anxiety, especially in men, can lead to real erectile dysfunction. Not because there's anything physically wrong, but because the mind is sabotaging the body. If you're noticing that pattern in your own life, if you're struggling with confidence, connection, or function, it may be time to take a closer look at how pornography is shaping your expectations. So what do you do if you think pornography is becoming a problem? Step 1. Acknowledge it without shame. The first step is recognizing that this isn't about being a bad person. It's not a moral failing. It's a pattern that developed, and patterns can be changed. Step 2. Consider professional support. If you're feeling stuck, a therapist who specializes in sexual health or compulsive behaviors can be incredibly helpful. They can help you understand what's driving the behavior and teach you healthier coping strategies. Cognitive behavioral therapy, mindfulness techniques, and even group support can make a real difference. Step 3. Rebuild healthy intimacy. If you're in a relationship, open communication is essential. Talk to your partner about what you're experiencing. Many couples find that working through this together actually strengthens their bond. Focus on real connection, touch, presence, vulnerability. Relearn what intimacy feels like without a screen between you. Step 4. Educate yourself and your kids. If you have children, know that they will encounter pornography at some point. The question is whether they'll have the tools to process it critically, have honest, age-appropriate conversations. Teach them that pornography isn't real. Teach them about consent, respect, and healthy relationships. Give them the education that many of us never received. So, should you avoid pornography altogether? I can't answer that for you. What I can tell you is this. Pornography, like many things in life, exists on a spectrum. For some, it's harmless. For others, it becomes a source of pain, disconnection, or shame. What matters most is that you're honest with yourself about how it's affecting your life, your relationships, and your sense of well-being. If it's enhancing your life, great. If it's not, if it's pulling you away from the people and things that matter, then it's worth taking a step back. You deserve a sex life that feels connected, confident, and real. You deserve relationships built on honesty and intimacy, and you deserve to feel good about the choices you make. If this video resonated with you, I hope you'll stay connected. Subscribe, share this with someone who might need to hear it, and remember, you're not alone in this. We're here to support you every step of the way. As always, take care of yourself, because you're absolutely worth it.